Thursday, and today I have my beautiful friend Julian, my soul brother Julian, and we will be discussing how to connect with your spirit guides and everything etherical, I guess you can kind of say. You can jump into the wagon, I guess, brother.
All right, thank you, brother. Thank you for having me on. How you all doing, beautiful souls? Hopefully you're all well. This is part of a new series I'm doing on my channel as well, called the Mystery School. So basically, what I want to get from this is trying to revive all the information that was burned down by the Vatican back in the days of Egypt when these powerful mystery schools were up and around. But yeah, pretty much today we're going to be talking about spirits. So yeah, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting to me because in this day and age that we're living in, right, a lot of us think that things of like the spirit realm and everything is kind of like far-fetched and like far away, if you get what I'm saying. But the actuality is like a lot of us who awaken to our truth, we understand that we are ultimately just multi-dimensional beings having a human experience, meaning at our core essence we are spiritual, and I like to say that like spirituality is ultimately self-expression of the fullest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Also, I want to add on as well. When it comes to spirit guides and entities nowadays, there is a lot of misconception about what it actually is. Like, you see all these, like, especially Christianity, like when you mention spirit guides and anything, it's like, oh no, that's evil stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that isn't the case whatsoever. But people just think, oh, it's like ghosts, it's like an invisible person in front of us. Well, to some extent, that is true. But honestly, what spirit guides are is just pure frequency information.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say you're talking to a spirit guide, you're communicating with a spirit guide, you're merely just tuning into the energy of frequency, tuning into the frequency and the information that it holds to get information that can help you expand. But I just wanted to put that in the video because
Yeah.
there may be a lot of people watching who don't really know what spirit guides are or may have a misinformed word I'm looking for view of what they actually are.
Right, yeah, exactly. Hopefully, in this video, we can clarify, all of you guys' misunderstandings when it comes to spirit guides and connecting with your spirit guides. And we'll also, talk about these things of like how to connect with your spirit guides, what are spirit guides and things of that nature. And you mentioned invisible, and I definitely agree with you. They are to a degree like invisible entities, but in actuality, like first and foremost, you got to understand that we human beings can only perceive like less than 1% of the visible light spectrum. So to a degree, we are already blind as it is, but ultimately most of these beings that are assisting us that we call our guides, they're ultimately beings residing on other dimensions, etc., etc. So us being three-dimensional beings, we can't really perceive fourth-dimensional beings or fourth-dimensional beings are higher because it's kind of like an ant. Like an ant being in its own dimension, it can't really particularly see us for who we truly are. It's kind of the same thing with us, like we can perceive the spirit guide, but we can't really see it 100%, like if you know what I mean. But we should be able to feel it. It's all about feeling.
That's it, brother. That's it. You make a really, really good point. Like people say, oh, I can't see spirit guides. Why aren't they appearing to me right in front of our eyes? But what people need to understand is we're not going to see spirit guides like we see another person in front of us, mainly because it's on a different level of frequency vibration.
Mhm.
When I speak to a lot of clients and stuff, they say, oh, how do you see spirit guides? I say, I don't see it like I'm seeing you. I see it in a different way when I tune into higher frequencies, whether that
Right,
be
right.
traveling between dimensions and stuff. Because when you go in and you go into a space, get to a certain space where you can tune into these frequencies, you can see these beings in a whole new way. It's like a new way of seeing, sixth sense, if you will.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And on my channel, I've recently, been making videos about the third eye and just I guess explaining how to develop it, because it's like it's through the third eye that we truly see it. You know, it's like your ability to imagine, your ability to utilize your imagination ultimately is like the tool in which you can use to perceive these other dimensional beings. You know, like what a lot of us don't know is like the third eye. I mean, our physical eyes are actually connected to our third eye. You know, they're like in a sense servants of our third eye, and a lot of us see these cool things that other spiritual beings do. You know, and we think that seeing spirits and things of this nature is done to like these physical eyes, but most of the time, it's done through the third eye. You know, like through your mind's eye, I guess you can kind of say.
Yeah, exactly, brother. With the third eye as well, it's basically how we download certain frequencies of information.
Mm-hmm.
So they say like the third eye helps us to communicate and sort of see frequencies on a somewhat physical level,
Yeah.
but crown chakra is basically what connects us to our higher self or a
Mm,
light body or a soul, if you will. So
exactly. Yeah.
the third eye is how you download frequencies into your physical body. That's just from my experience. You may have
Yes.
experienced something else. But crown chakra is how what connects you to your light body and the key to shifting your consciousness into your light body, which is the key to traveling interdimensionally. Because most of the information that I get, like, it's not from reading books or anything. It's about traveling through this. Well, yeah, I do get some information from books and like info and stuff, but a large majority of it comes from like traveling in this amazing reality we live in and speaking to these codes of consciousness and all this information. And yeah, just seeing what this reality is all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like I think I released this video on my channel, you know, today, and it's a meditation that corresponds with the crown chakra. Like, and you're most definitely right with what you said with the crown chakra, you know, because it's like at every chakra, it either heightens in density or lowers in vibration. You know, like the crown chakra is pure light. You know, it is the highest vibration. So it's like it is most definitely how we channel, how we receive information. It is what connects us to the universe, the Akashic records, and things of this nature. And it's
Mm.
like it is the third eye, which in a sense it kind of gets anchored down to our physical world, if you get what I mean, because it's like a thought and a vision and imagination is much denser than a thought, you know, and that's ultimately what we're kind of doing. We're like taking this light information, these light frequencies, and then we're kind of making them denser, forming them into thoughts. And then, you know, when it comes to the third chakra, this is like when it's truly integrated within you, because now you're able to communicate it, you know, so on and so forth. Um, hmm. Yeah, I think honestly, I just went blank. I forgot what I was gonna say, but I think you might have
it's
something to say.
it's all good, brother. But definitely, on all levels of our existence, because we are multi-dimensional beings, we may see each other here on this material world, but in every dimension, or I like to say density, because it's honestly just different levels of frequency, there is a body of some sorts of ours there. So that, like, we may be here talking, but on a different frequency, we may be off doing some crazy cosmic shit.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, as well with the chakras, they definitely appear in all the different densities, frequencies. Like for example, like the chakras, the energetic points, they are like a fourth, fifth dimensional thing. But in the physical body, there's a physical manifestation of where it is. Like you see the third eye, you see the pineal gland, and
Hmm.
then certain nerve points exactly in the body. Like people, there are a lot of people who like are very, what's the word I'm looking for? Skeptical about like chakras and energy and everything. But honestly, the best way to understand how it works in the physical body is
Hmm.
nerve points. Like
Yeah.
it's been scientifically proven that in where the chakras have been located in all the like ancient diagrams and stuff, there are nerve points in the body that correlates with the chakras.
Hmm.
And that's basically what the nerve points are. They send information of energy, electric signals. So that's your proof right there that the chakras are actually there. And
Exactly. Yeah.
3D manifestation of it.
Hmm. You know, exactly, and it's like the lower chakras, they ultimately correspond with the physical body, you know, like the earth, I mean, the root chakra being its element being earth, it ultimately governs our physical body, you know. And then the sacral chakra in a sense is our emotional body. And then you can see the solar plexus is kind of like the sun within us, because it's like the energy reserve. And you know, when we talk about chakras, and if you might be a skeptic, you know, you can kind of look into it and see the malfunctions of the chakras. You know, let's say you have a malfunction of a root chakra, and it's telling you that you might become obese, you might feel sick, you might be detached from your body and things of this nature. Even though you're a skeptic, if you just decide to work on this chakra, you know, then you will start to see benefits. But ultimately, also do want to say that our belief is everything. You know, it's like you
Yeah,
can do something, you can do it, but if at the core you believe that it's not going to work, then it's not going to work. You know, and this is kind of like the placebo effect.
exactly.
So yes, belief is ultimately everything.
Definitely, brother. There's a saying, your thoughts create your reality. This is one of the
Uh-huh.
most 100% honest, true sayings that I've ever heard in my life, mainly from experience. Before we get into all this spirituality and stuff, um, we may have been lost, we may have been
I was muted, right?
yeah,
You
it's all
didn't
good.
hear it.
That's all good.
Okay.
It's all good. But anyway, like I was saying, our thoughts do create our own reality. And a good example of this in my experience with this is especially what you think of the world around you. If you want to change the world or change your environment around you, you need to change how you think. It's like as within, so without. You think negative, you think the world's shit, blah, 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 the world's going to be shit. But if you
Mhm.
think positive and you want this to manifest, that to manifest, and you truly know it in here, it's going to be like, bang, that's how the world is. But
Mhm.
everyone operates on their own truth. That's why I always say, like, yes, everything is true because not one thing can be true for one person, but to another person it can be true. But but does that mean that it's not true?
Sorry for the distractions, but yeah, I agree. You know, that's ultimately, you know, the you can even look at it with the two hermetic principles. You know, the first two hermetic principles, the law of mentalism and then the law of correspondence. So you know, like with the law of mentalism, it ultimately just states that thoughts are things, and that to a degree we're living in our mind, which is kind of deep. It's like, and then you know, the second principle, which is the principle of correspondence, backs this up. Because so if the first law of mentalism is stating that we're living in our mind, and then the second law, which is stating that everything is correspondent, as above so below, as within so without, then you know this is ultimately it. Like change your thoughts, you will change your reality, and that's no doubt. You know, and this is, you know, what I realized, it's kind of the same thing with synchronicities. You know, like synchronicities are ultimately reflections of our internal world. You know what I mean? Like for instance, when I started utilizing that 369 energy, like I told you, I started seeing 369 everywhere. You know, and it was like
Yeah.
it started from within, and it projected externally. So you know, this was a manifestation to me, or for me, that was conforming. You know, confirming what I already knew. But yes, we should really talk about the spirit guides, bro, because that's the
Yeah,
big
right.
bro.
Um,
But
well,
everything is connected, you know.
of course, everything is connected. I was going to add something onto that, but I forgot. Anyway, let's get onto the spirit guides.
Yeah.
What is your first experience with talking with spirit guides or communicating with spirit guides?
Spirit guides, yes, yes. So you asked me what my experiences were with connecting to spirit, you know, and spirit guides and everything like this. And you
Yeah,
know, yeah, I mentioned, you know, like I'm an astrologer, you know, and the beautiful thing about astrology is it goes deep. You know, there's like traditional astrology, modern astrology, kind of the same thing, but not really. But then there's like esoteric astrology, medical. astrology is connected to everything, but I'm ultimately wanting to talk about like esoteric astrology, and esoteric astrology, they ultimately focus upon like the evolution aspect of the signs, and how when we evolve, what happens, and like the gifts we have, the innate gifts we have, and I am a Gemini, and people know Gemini to be two-faced, I guess you can say, or like two people, I mean one person with two personalities, or like so that holds two people. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Yes,
Yeah.
but like so ultimately, at the higher manifestation, the duality becomes the lower self and the higher self. So with Gemini's, for us, it's kind of like the connection is already there. We're like one of the we're like one of we're naturally channelers. Being ruled by Mercury, the messenger of the gods and things of this nature. But it's like the trick about it is like we Geminis, we have this immense ability to connect with source and communicate, but before we do that, we have to quiet our minds, and a lot of Geminis, they have chatty minds. We're constantly known to speak a lot because we think a lot, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I say that because like with me having two personalities or just two beings within me as it is, I always had this other voice within me, and this was ultimately the masculine and the feminine aspect of me. Like I always had this feminine aspect of me that was very, I guess you can say, very irrational, very intuitive, and things of this nature. Then I had this rational voice within me. So with that being said, I already, in a sense, had a dialogue within, and I feel like this is kind of where it all begins. Like, in order for you to connect with your higher self, you have to first understand that you have to talk to yourself. You have to, in a sense, get in commune with yourself. Like, think about, like, ponder on your thoughts and just have a dialogue with your thoughts and things of this nature. For instance, like the meditation I uploaded earlier, it was a meditation on the crown chakra, and ultimately to do this meditation, it was a simple meditation yet very powerful, So you technically just close your eyes, focus in as you always do, tap into the moment, and now instead of like instead of trying to block your thoughts or like avoid your thoughts and things of this nature, you actually want to engage with your thoughts, So let's say a thought comes in, like let's say a thought comes in, like a thought of a loved one, this someone you love. So then now what you want to ask yourself is, where did this thought come from? And then this thought could have came from, oh, this thought came from the emotions I was having. And then now you ask yourself, where did those emotions come from? Until you get to like the root, like the core essence of it. And it's crazy because it's like you go super deep like this, if you get what I'm saying. Like I was asking myself, I started with a simple thought, and I ended up with like this crazy origin, if you get what I'm saying. But like that's kind of a good way to start a dialogue within yourself. And it's like you really gotta get comfortable speaking to yourself. Like you gotta get comfortable being able to meditate and ask questions and trust. Trust is everything. Like you really gotta learn to trust yourself. And trust that there's an inner guidance, if you get what I'm saying. And this inner guidance later on will start manifesting to you as like other beings and things of that nature. It's like if you think about it, it's kind of like, how can you expect to talk to other higher dimensional beings if you haven't yet established to talk to your soul, I guess you can kind of say, or like if you haven't even established to talk to yourself. So you got to create that first connection, and it's like that first connection, once you have that ability to communicate, can also kind of be perceived as your higher self. This is like your higher self also connects with your intuition and things of this nature, your third eye or whatever. But it's ultimately third eye and crown chakra, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course, if you want to communicate with spirit guides, definitely the first step is definitely talking to yourself. Because especially when we're kids, we talk to ourselves a lot, and
Hmm.
many people don't realize is that we're speaking to our higher selves or our soul. So when we talk, it's like like you said, different personalities. Like it could be you, the physical body operating
Hmm.
in your brain personality. But
Hmm.
then you're talking to yourself and you realize there's this stream of information when you respond back. Like it could be positive, it could be negative. It depends what you tune into. But me personally, when I was a kid, I used to speak to my higher self a lot. Like I would sit down. I was a very spiritual kid up until I got a bit older and just through life and stuff. our vibrations lower to the
Programming.
conscious. Yeah, exactly, brother. Yeah, I would communicate with my higher self, and I remember my mother was telling me this one time. I think I was talking to my higher self. I was talking to myself, and I was saying to myself that the sun is a portal. And I would always go say to people after that, like, the sun's a portal, the sun's a portal. And
Hey.
everyone's like, nah, you're stupid. I'm like, now when I'm at this level of consciousness and unity with source, I'm
Yeah.
like, am I stupid?
The sun is a portal, yeah. Wait, I just want to add something on to that. You know, it is said that with the sun's electric nature and the moon's magnetic nature, it is said that when we portal into this dimension, our consciousness, our energy portals into this dimension, it comes to the sun, you know, and when we leave, we ultimately go to the moon. But yeah, I guess I just kind of wanted to add that on there, you know. But it's like all of the planets are said to give us a specific attribute, you know. Like for instance, Saturn and the Earth, they kind of give us the physical body, and then well, you know, me saying that. I also want to bring up the fact that like you know everything is in a sense reflecting itself as within so without. It's like we literally have the dimensions within us, you know, like if you
Exactly.
get what I'm saying, like the third dimension. Well, yeah, the third dimension in a sense can kind of correspond with our third chakra, you know, to a degree, because it's like the first chakra is kind of more of like the first dimension, and then the second chakra is more of like the second dimension. But yeah,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Also, like this stream of information just came through for me. You can
Yeah,
also think as the seven planets correlating with the seven chakras,
yeah,
as
yeah,
been so
exactly.
out. I've heard this saying that in order to understand the stars and the planets and how everything works, you need to understand how you work first. Because it has
Facts.
been so without.
Correspondence.
Exactly,
Mhm.
brother. But yeah, I think I'll go into how like I started speaking to spirit guides. Yeah, at this one point after I received the first energy healing session from someone, I started opening up, and my mother, she's a healer as well. She's always saying, "Oh, use these oracle cards. You can speak to spirits." That was like my first way of like communicating, because obviously I can't talk to them like to the extent that I can do now. Now it's like I can
Mhm.
see someone in front of me, have like me and you have a conversation right now. Like I can speak to my guides like we're doing right now all day. But I
Right.
use
Yeah.
these oracle cards, which are pretty very similar to tarot. Do you know what oracle cards are?
Yes, I know Oracle cards. I don't use them. At the moment I use Tarot rather, but yeah, I know what Oracle cards are.
But yeah, I used that for a while, and then the communication and myself clearing myself out, the communication with the spirits became stronger. So I started seeing synchronicity, like numbers, feathers, just signs that people would just pass off as, oh, coincidence. And then after that, I started going on this journey to learn how to astral project. Because it's like, whoa, I want to go travel the universe and see all these
Mhm.
different aspects of this reality we live in. So here I am trying for a while, trying, getting nowhere, tingling sensations at most. But then I had this interview with a lady who can see spirits really well and draw them. I think I've shown you a picture before.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And two spirit guides came through and they were telling me how I can learn to astral project. And they basically just said, one night when you're alone, just close your eyes and imagine you're having a conversation with us. And honestly, that's like if there's anyone watching who want to know how to astral project, I have a video on it, but you can check that out later. The key is your imagination. Your imagination.
Imagination.
People say your imagination is fake.
Imagination, bro.
Like a SpongeBob gift. Imagination. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
bro. Like,
literally. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna add this real quick. The word magic actually comes from the word imagination. The third eye, you know, on my third eye video, I said a lot of us complicate it, but it's actually as simple as your third eye, simply your imagination, your ability to visualize, you know, because that's where the magic is. Because when you visualize, what you're doing is you're manifesting something out of nothing. Like, yeah. But yeah, I
Exactly,
just wanted
brother.
to add that real quick, you know.
Exactly. Spot on. But yes. I got that. Nothing happened for a while after that. Still tingling sensations. And then one night when I was stargazing with some family, my mother and my aunt, who are like the spiritual ones in my family,
Yeah.
I was just looking at the stars and I was just starting to, what's the word, zone out. And I was looking at the stars and I noticed that they were starting to form geometric patterns. I was like, whoa, I'm tripping out right now. Next second, I'm on this another planet, like with orange fucking skies, and I'm just looking around. I'm like, what? And then next minute, I come back.
Yeah.
I'm back in my body, but I was lying down on the grass looking up. When I came back into my body, I was up facing the sky like Michael Jackson Thriller. And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I was reaching for the stars. And when I came back, my mother and aunt are freaking the fuck out. And I'm like, whoa, what's happening? What's happening? It's like you're blacked out and you stood up and went like that by yourself. But when you did that, a UFO came and flew over you. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me, right? And I'm like, no. It came over you, it stopped over you, and then it disappeared and you stood up and went like that by yourself. And we were talking to you for like a solid 5 minutes trying to get you to talk back and you wouldn't. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And then after that, it all just came really easy. It's like whatever beings came to me that night, they helped remove this block that was stopping me from astral projecting. And then after that, when I started astral projecting, I could start speaking to spirits so easily.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like sometimes you have to experience it to believe it. You know, it's like once you experience magic, once you experience manifestation, once you experience anything, it becomes so easier because you have solid evidence that it's real. You know, and due to the programmings and things of this nature, we are very disconnected. You know, from these things of spirituality, connecting, astral projection, and everything of this nature. You know, and the thing with astral projection, like what I realized is it's like the law of correspondence, it runs deep, you know. It's like when you're astral projecting, ultimately you are going inside. Like this is why like imagination is very important because in a sense you are going within. But the thing about it is, everything is within, you know, like when we talk about the crown chakra, it is our connection to the universe. It's at the crown chakra where the finite meets the infinite, you know. Like an interesting thing also is it's like the three not the well all the chakras are important, you know, so I'm not gonna say major chakras, but you know like the higher chakra, the crown chakra, and then the middle chakra, the heart chakra, and the root chakra, they all have things to do with connecting, you know, like for instance the root chakra is ultimately our unity or our connection with Mother Gaia, with the earth, and the heart chakra is ultimately our connection and our unity with everything around us. You know, everything around you. Like it's to the heart chakra that you can talk to a tree, that you can talk to these beings and things. You can talk to an animal. You know, because most of the time, a lot of us think that we should approach this from a left brain standpoint, I guess you can kind of say, and try to literally talk to an animal. But in actuality, most animals they speak through vibrations, you know. They speak through
Exactly.
vibrations, so they're feeling your vibration, they're feeling your emotion and everything of this nature. And this is kind of why, like, for instance, dogs, you know, like dogs are said to be able to feel fear, and when they feel fear, they themselves become frightened because you projecting that fear out to them, they're receiving that, and whatever you, the intensity of the fear that you have is the intensity of the fear that they have, you know, like because in your mind you're like, this bear is gonna attack me, demolish me, and everything. That's the energy you're projecting outward. That bear is gonna catch that, and that bear is like, what is that? It's gonna hurt me, and you know that bear, it goes wild, you know. So it's all about maintaining your peace, like very
Exactly.
true, you know, maintaining the peace, because your external world is a reflection of your internal world, as we keep saying.
Exactly, man. But definitely, if you don't want listen up, people. If you don't want an animal to attack you, don't put it in your head that they're gonna attack you. Just
Yeah,
be
exactly.
at peace.
Yes,
Put
exactly.
out those peaceful vibrations.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I guess I kind of want to share one of my like the most insane experience I had when it comes to connecting with my spirit guides at this physical level, or connecting with other aspects of me, you know, because this is ultimately what they are. They're just other aspects of us. Like, because the thing about it is most of us are multidimensional beings, meaning that we, you know, there's this people talk about like this, I guess you can say prophecy. I'm not sure if that's even like the right term to use, but like, you know, they talk about the 144,000 beings that incarnated into this reality, you know, to help raise the consciousness. So if that's a fact, then you got to realize that we were elsewhere, you know. And also, I want to mention this: we have been made to believe that time is linear, but in actuality, time is vertical, and everything is existing at the moment. Everything is existing simultaneously, you know. And because I said that, I also want to mention this, you know, like you actually have the possibility, the ability, and this connects to what I'm gonna unfold into, either travel into the future and connect with your future self, or travel back to the past and connect with your past self. You know, so let's say you have some traumatic experiences that are in your mind. You know, you remember that one time, let's say you were abused or something. What you can do with the tension and everything of this nature, you can want to go back into the past, you know, and go back there, and you will manifest to your past self, you know. And you can give your past self guidance. You can tell them that it's okay, that this will not be forever, you know. Like, and this is kind of what it is. Like, your higher guides are you know, and this is kind of like an example, you know, like you traveling back to the past and letting your past self know that this is okay, like that they're okay, you know. And what you've done there is you have helped healed your past self, and in total you have healed yourself, you know. It's
Exactly right.
yeah, wanted to bring that up. But so my experience, you know, with one of the craziest experiences I've had with multi-dimensional beings, or my other aspects of myself, you know. This was like I think either a week before my birthday or a week after my birthday, my 18th birthday. I was sleeping, you know, but I like to sleep on the ground because, you know, that's like very good for your spine, blood flow, and you're grounded and things of that nature. So I was sleeping on the ground, and this thing, it unfolded in it took 3 days to fully unfold, if you get what I'm saying. So the first night I was about to go to sleep, and I'm just chilling, and I felt this presence, you know, this intense energy, like something was in the room with me, you know. So I was actually fearful, to be honest with you, because, you know, I've never experienced that before. So I'm just like, what is this? Like, I was kind of afraid, but I knew that the projection, if I was to feed fear, then my fear would only become stronger, if you get what I mean. So I centered myself, you know, and I told myself, like, stop being fearful. Like, whatever this is cannot hurt you, you know, like that, like, you know, I am powerful, and whatever this is can't fucking hurt me, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, so I told it like aggressively to go away, and it vanished, it left, you know. And then the next day as well, it came back, and I was on the ground, right, and I was trying to fall asleep. It came back again, and I felt the energy once more, but this time it wasn't only external, but literally felt like this was they were doing something to my physical body, my energetic body, rather, I should say, you know, because I felt like voltage, like a voltage of energy flowing through me, and that shit just scared the fuck out of me, and it was kind of like I had no control, you know. And then I was kind of fearful once again, so I told him to leave, you know, like get away from me or whatever. And then the third day, it happened 3 times in a row, you know, so I was like, I'm not running away this time. Like, I'm gonna face whatever this is. So, you know, it happened, and I just got up and I got a meditation pose, like position, and I calmed myself, I centered myself. And once I did that, then you know, I asked, I was like, who is here? Like, yourself. I told you, like, these beings are not going to hurt you. So I connected, you know. And ultimately, they came to me in 3 beings. It was 3 of them. And one of them was my past self, my present self, and my future self, you know. And this is what they told me. They were like, we are you from the past, from the future, and from the present. And I assumed that my present self, you know, was my higher self or something of this nature. So they came, and, you know, they just delivered this crazy message to me. And you know, all of it was very emotional, and it was very healing as well. Like, a lot of stuff was released and things of that nature, you know. And once this was established and everything, well, the funny thing is, after the conversation, you know, ultimately they came and they were telling me that I was gonna go through a shift and things of this nature, you know, and they were just telling me that after this shift, I wouldn't be considered human, and then I guess to a degree become like a superhuman, if you know what I'm saying. And this is ultimately like before I was like, what does that even mean? I'm not gonna become human, you know. And like whenever I would share it to others, they wouldn't really understand either. But now I realize it's kind of like the shift that's gonna happen at a genetic level, like because you know they talk about like our transforming the carbon DNA into the silicone crystalline DNA, if you get what I'm saying, you know. So that's what I ultimately realized, you know, that this was in a sense the shift that they were talking about, and they were telling me how I needed to prepare, you know, like because the shit was gonna be intense, and if like I wasn't ready, then it would kind of in a sense be harmful rather than this and blah 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 blah, you know. But yeah, you know, so much just unfolded, and it was just so healing. I was crying, I was in tears, you know, because there's just so much came. And the next day they came again. This was like the fourth day, you know, but this time I knew what was going on. So I was at peace. And, you know, they, in a sense, like, did a healing on me, you know, like, full body and everything, you know. And such an amazing experience. But yes, that was one of the many experiences I've had, you know, with these dimensional beings. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. That's an awesome story. But speaking on the DNA activation, ultimately, yeah, that's what's going on. When people are waking up, their DNA is literally changing. And
Yes.
through light language, that's how I transmute these frequencies to help activate the DNA. I think it was the last light language transmission, I believe, which was activating the DNA to the 5D blueprint. So yes, on a like energetic level, it's upgrading you, but on a physical level as well, like your DNA is literally changing. And when we wake
Yeah.
up and we shift our energy, everything inside of us changes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially when we realize what we're able to do. Like I, I can't express this to you in words. Everybody that's watching this, there's literally nothing that we can't do. We can
Facts.
change the reality around us
Mm-hmm.
in whichever way we want, as long as it's the highest good. There are
Yeah.
beings who are not doing it for the highest goods on the planet, but that's for another video. Um, but definitely with that present story that you're talking about, it reminds me of something funny that happened with my mum and aunt. The three of us kind of like the spiritual ones in the family. One
Mm-hmm.
day we were sitting down, we were doing oracle cards, speaking to spirits, and me and my aunt, we felt this really, really strong presence in the corner of the room. It's like all the energy was being attracted to one point, and we freaked out. Like this presence was so strong, it scared the absolute
Yeah.
shit out of us. And we ran down the hall. And we were like,
Yeah.
"Oh!" And then my mom just comes after us and she's
Oh
like, "Oh!"
shit.
And then after we're done running down, she's like, "Why are you guys running?" I'm like, "You seriously didn't feel that?" And she's like, "No." We go back into the room and that presence is gone. I'm like, bro, I don't know what that was, but all the energy was being attracted to one point, but it was a lower vibrational energy. That's why, like,
Yeah.
immediately I jumped up and ran. I'm like, nah, this energy's no good. Anyway, I just want
Yeah.
to include that because pretty funny story.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. You know, and I also want to mention this. These beings of lower vibrations, they're ultimately dark, you know, dark in their energy, I guess you can say. They're whereas we are light beings, you know, and it's known that light in a sense casts away the darkness, you know. So they do come to us, and it's like if it literally like at an energetic level, like what we do physically happens at an energetic level as well, you know, because physically we retreat, you know, we're like retreating, we're like, oh shit, and our light is also retreating, you know. So that presence is only going to get darker. But let's say you decide to be like, nah, fuck that, I'm powerful, I know this, and project your light externally, they're gonna run, you know, like they're gonna run the fuck away, like. But yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Now, on that topic as well, because you said that light casts away the darkness,
Uh-huh.
the truth is that light and dark are all the same. It's just a matter of frequency. So, like when someone says the light casts away the darkness, it's because the
Mm-hmm.
light is on such a higher frequency that it raises that darkness to that frequency, the high
Yeah,
frequency,
yeah,
where it
yeah.
doesn't show those aspects anymore.
Exactly. It's like we actually need both energies, you know, the dark and the light. Like for instance, in this dimension, or in just all dimensions, you know, it's thanks to the darkness, thanks to the light. I mean, yeah, thanks to the darkness, the nothingness, the void, you know, that source can spread its energy of creation, you know, because darkness um absorbs the light, you know, so we need a little bit of darkness in order for us to absorb light. It's thanks to the void, the nothingness, that in a sense source, God, or whatever you want to call it, the logos or whatever, was
Exactly.
able to in a sense project itself out into this reality, you know, and manifest itself. It's the joining of dark and light that forms life, you know, and to a degree you can kind of also see darkness and light as feminine and masculine. Feminine and masculine manifest in everything, you know, because it's like when the joining of the two is God. The joining of feminine and masculine creates creation, you know, like, and the feminine is ultimately considered to be like the darkness, and the masculine is more of the light. And it's ultimately because, you know, when we talk about darkness, for instance, like life comes from the life originated from the depth and the darkness of the sea, you know, like it was at the darkness, the depth of the sea that life was able to form. So yeah, I guess you can kind of perceive it that way, but ultimately light can be correlated with the masculine, because masculinity is very logic, you know, and very logical and things of this nature, and that's what light is. Light is just information, you know. It's like um I guess the feminine energy is like a formless and shapeless thing that can be formed, you know, and the light or the masculine is more of like the light that can form it. It has the energy, you know, so they're both needed. We need the feminine, we need the masculine. We need the dark, we need the light.
Exactly, brother. And like there are a lot of people who are doing these energy healings or are trying to like raise their vibration, be like light workers and stuff, and
Mhm.
they completely neglect like the dark side of ourselves and they just focus on the light. I'm like, well, when I talk to people like that, I'm saying, well, you can't raise your vibration to new levels if you're neglecting one of them. Honestly, it's a matter of balancing both. Like I recently did a video called it's a free distance healing, clear or cleansing the shadow self, which is literally the dark aspect of ourselves. And now what this body of energy does, or the shadow self I like to call it, it stores any lower vibrational energies, emotions, stuff like trauma from situations we may experience in life. And normally how it works is like you go into the shadow self, process, and then leave. But because like these things can be extremely hard to deal with, it stays in the shadow self, and that can result in like trauma or like certain negative emotions or thought patterns towards a certain situation or view of something. So that healing was basically focused on clearing it out to balance like both your light body and like your shadow self.
Mhm. Exactly, and you know, the crazy thing about that is ultimately the shadow aspect of us. Most of the time, it's shadows with like, you know, pearl with like an S, because what happens is we in this day and age we are taught we're just taught, you know, to in a sense ignore the negative, ignore the bad. For instance, with the pharmaceutical and the medical industry, all they do is give you a pill which suppresses the symptoms. It doesn't really cure or anything like that. Like yeah, you know, it just suppresses it, and this is kind of what we do as well with our negative emotions and things of this nature. You know, I also want to bring up a placement in astrology, like someone who has their moon in Capricorn. You know, the Capricorn energy is from Saturn. It's very Saturnian. It's in its essence. So it's all about logic and things of this nature. You know, these beings, they're more logical and they don't really know how to express emotions. So they tend to collect their emotions. You know, they don't really express it outwardly. And what happens is there's a buildup that happens. You know, they build all of these negative emotions, and then they end up exploding. You know, exploding, just exploding, like. And you know, through this explosion, in a sense, through the suppression of energy, depression happens, you know, and things of that nature. But ultimately, I wanted to say, with like, you know, the shadow aspect of us, when you suppress your shadow self, like, this is a being in of itself, you know, like, because thoughts are things, as we said, like, thoughts are literally things as well, beings, things, or whatever you want to perceive it as. When you
Yeah.
suppress these entities, what happens is they, in a sense, go and form like a life of their own, like to a degree, if you get what I mean. Like
Yeah.
even though they have been suppressed and they're playing in the background, they're slowly but surely building up their own presence. You know, in a sense, it's kind of like where nightmares come. Like this is because when you're dreaming, when you're in the other realm, you're ultimately experiencing your subconscious mind. You know, and this is why evil demonic beings manifest and you see them because they're you know. But on top of that, let's talk about genetic genes. Bro, this shit is crazy. Like, cause you know,
Yeah.
I love biology. I'm very spiritual and everything, but I'm also very rooted into the earth, you know, and I love studying the earth and everything as well. But it's like when you talk about genes, you know, genetic genes and things of this nature, genes are ultimately information. And when you consume something, when like you consume meat, what you
Mm.
are doing most of the time, you know, not especially in this day and age, like in the way that, you know, meat is produced and things of this nature, like what you are doing when you're consuming this meat is you're absorbing, for one, the information from the animal at a genetic level, which is a physical level, but also at an energetic level, because energy cannot be destroyed. Energy is only transmuted. Energy is only changed or transmuted. You know, it goes from one shape to another. So when you eat this animal, what you are doing is, for one, you are absorbing like the fucked up genetic expressions of it, and now these genes through, because these genes are they're not DNA, it's more like RNA. You know, they're it's micro RNA. So these genes are not broken down by the enzymes within your body, you know, but rather they actually go into your genome, and they connect to your genome, you know. And this is kind of where disease comes from, like cancer and things of this nature. But I brought that up, you know, because it's like when you eat these animal beings, you are in a sense allowing their presence within you. You know, like you know, there have been times when I guess you can say that my ideal diet wasn't really there for me, and I had to either, I guess, fast or like not eat anything, or just go about eating like chicken or something like this, you know. And when I do this, I understand, you know, like I understand what I'm doing. I understand the energy at play here. So what I always do is, first and foremost, I bless the food, you know, like I, in a sense, ask it for forgiveness and things of that nature, and I thank it for what it's providing me, you know. But on top of that, once I've consumed it, I always, you know, I guess you can say, go into this meditation, or it doesn't even have to be like that, you know. Like there's just like this perception, like the chicken or whatever manifests within me, you know. And like I have a communication with this chicken and things of this nature, you know. And it's like through this, like, you know, we talk, and I guess you can kind of say like the karma that would have been produced is kind of like transmuted, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm.
um but yeah, you know, it's like that, well, we really shouldn't be eating animals and things of this nature, especially due to the fact that we are putting them through all of this fear, trauma, and all of this stuff, you know. And you are literally what you eat, literally, you feel me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the words of the great Santos Bonacci, you definitely are what you eat. If you eat pig's bum, you're a pig's bum. But anyway, especially with eating meat, when you eat all of that, not only are you ingesting the meat, which has been now scientifically proven to be
Cause
harmful
cancer.
to the
Oh,
body,
yeah. And
but
cause cancer.
exactly right. And it's not good long term. Short term, you may see people, oh, they're getting all these muscles, huge bloody muscles. But look what happens in the long term. Later on in life, they're all breaking down, becoming really saggy. Your
Hmm.
organs are failing on them. But unlike a vegetarian or vegan diet, however, like primarily, here's a really interesting fact: the gladiators in Rome were vegetarian. They didn't eat meat. And look how
Hmm.
strong those guys were.
Yeah.
And it's been proven that before, like, we started eating meat, people always say, "Oh, our ancestors were cavemen, ate meat." Well, it's been scientifically proven because people, like scientists, have examined the bones and what the bones were made out of. That we
Hmm.
were mainly eating plant-based foods, all the
Yeah, I
vegetables in
mean,
the gardens and everything.
yeah.
But
Like, you
also,
know,
sorry,
well, I'm sorry too, because I kind of cut you off. But I was just gonna say, you know, also you gotta look at the biology of something. You know, like for instance, um, we would have been rather more scavengers, I guess you can kind of say. We wouldn't particularly have been like we don't have that ability to like go and like kill like a gazelle that's running at high speeds, you know, like a lion does. Like we're not built that way. It was, so, you know, we kind of in a sense had to resort to eating what was in our league or in our peripheral vision, I guess you can kind of say, that wasn't out of reach. You know, this is kind of like bugs. Yeah, bro.
Mm.
And that reminds me of The Lion King. You know
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that one scene. But yeah, like, you know, bugs, but predominantly you know, we were eating like plants and fruit and things of this nature. Like for instance, we are primates, and it's like you can look at what these primates are doing in this day and age. Like a primate is ultimately like a monkey, chimpanzee like being. You know, this is kind of what primates are. They're kind of like us, but they're, I guess you can say, kind of less evolved or whatever.
Mm.
And look at their diet. Fucking gorillas. They're huge, bro. They're big, and
Exactly.
they're predominantly, they don't even eat meat. They predominantly only eat like they're plant based. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also with
We gotta make more videos because it's like I want to jump into things that don't connect to this video, you know. But like we gotta make separate videos so then we can yeah.
exactly. But let's we should probably get back onto the topic of spirit guides. What should we cover next? What kind of spirit guide? Because obviously there are different kinds of entities in this crazy, crazy reality we live in. And you've been doing a lot of videos on different kinds of entities like Pleiadians, Syrians, etc., etc. From your experience, who have you met, or what kind of entities have you met?
Okay, so with me, you know, it's like I've connected with the Palladians. I've connected with the Syrians most definitely. But in this Earth realm, I mean, it makes sense to me as well as the dragons, so fourth dimensional beings. But like I told you, you know, I told you previously that my spirit animal is a dragon, you know. So I have like a very close connection with dragons, you know, and it ultimately all started. The dragon, it came to me in a dream, you know, where it was like I think I should share the dream since I brought it up, you know. So
Yeah.
I had this dream, right, where I had this dream, right, where I was riding this huge dragon, and I was up above, you know, and I was above, and when I looked down, it was kind of like the the energy that I seen around me. It was kind of like this like a desert like energy. I mean, like the scenery, you know, was kind of like a desert, and everything was like on fire, and there was chaos, you know, and everything like this, and I was riding with my dragon. We were up there, you know, and it was kind of like, I guess you can say like an SOS call, or like it was just like a mission. I was on a mission, rather, I should say, and ultimately I was on the dragon, you know, and I was up above the dragon, or I was up there in the sky in the dragon. I was ultimately using this tool, which I was, in a sense, I guess you can say, shooting light out of.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's funny to me because like when I first looked over this dream, to me like the tool manifested as a machine gun, you know. But ultimately, I was shooting it down at people because, but the I wasn't shooting bullets, you know, metal bullets. It was more like light. It was light energy. You feel me? And the beings that were on the ground, they were kind of like resembling the Walking Dead, if you get what I mean. So I feel
Yeah.
like to a degree that was like, you know, me spreading life, spreading information and things of that nature. Information, you know, because like the light, it is information, and it corresponds with information. And it was golden light as well, I guess you can kind of say. The second time I connected with the dragon was I went in meditation, you know, and I connected with it, and it was in commune with me. It was like this huge dragon, you know, and it was kind of not happy with me. I guess we'll just leave it at that. But I mean,
Mm.
now our, you know, our connection is good because it's like, well, it's not, it's, I guess it was not happy at me, and I feel like this was just ultimately like the energy that the dragons were expressing at a humanity level, because the dragons, they ultimately govern, you know, this physical realm. They are the
Mm.
governors of the ley lines, and they are responsible for like you know, governing the ley lines and things of that nature. And they were just not happy with the shit that we were doing to the earth, you know.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like I felt the earth's pain so much, like so many times. Like there would be times when I would just wake up and I would start crying, bro, because like the energy of the earth's pain was just so intense, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm.
But yeah, so ultimately I've connected, with dragons, with the fairy energy. Like when I talk about fairies, I'm not really talking about what we were made to believe fairies to be.
Mm.
Ultimately, from my perspective, or from what I've learned or what I was told at an intuitive level, I guess you can say, fairy beings are ultimately just like the creative aspect of nature.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the ones who give Mother Gaia her ability to be very creative, very expressive, be very diverse. Because what you need to realize is Gaia is not Earth. Well, she is Earth, but it's like Gaia is the consciousness of Earth, And before this Earth realm existed, it was just ultimately her consciousness. And these
Mm.
dragon beings and these fairy beings came and helped her manifest this realm. The dragon beings the dragons and the fairies, they ultimately came straight from source. They're like source energy, but they come to the lower densities to, I guess, express this source energy, if you get what I'm saying. It is said that, dragons, they were the ones who helped manifest the four elements, and then the fairies were the ones who, in a sense, helped to mold and form, the fairies, and mold and form this, whatever. But I guess
Mm.
ultimately I've talked to the Syrians, the fairies, the dragons, the Palladians. I've talked to angelic beings, like at the moment, that's who I'm working with. Like right now, I'm working with the angels, and I think a week ago I did this meditation, right, where I was meditating and I was channeling them, and ultimately it was like at first the dark angels came to me, the fallen angels, I guess you can say, or whatever. And I was in commune with them, and they kind of revealed themselves, and I was just like, whoa, 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 hold up. So then I kind of redid the channeling, and I reconnected, and like my higher self was guiding me, so I really did connect. And then like when I connected with the higher dragons, they weren't really like, I mean, the higher angels, they weren't really like, they didn't really bring up the fact that I connected with the lower angels like I thought they would, and it was like kind of like it was harmonious, if you get what I'm saying. So I was like, hold up, what the heck? So I kind of called this meeting. And ultimately it was just my confusion, because I would think that the lower and the higher angels would be in conflict with one another, like have issues and things of that nature. So we all manifest, and I think it was like on the right side the dark angels were sitting, and on the left side it was the light angels, and there was like this big ass table, and in the middle, like on the wall, this yin and yang symbol manifested. So to the degree intuitive, that kind of already knew what was going on. Yeah, and they kind of explained to me that they most definitely are plans. Like they do have different reasons of being, but they're both needed. As lower angels, they govern the lower dimensions. And they're very crucial. They're very needed as well.
Mm.
And the higher angels, and they were just telling me how they understand that they're both needed. And it's like the fifth principle of the seven Hermetic Principle, which is the law of polarity, ultimately states that all polar ends, their polarity doesn't exist. Like all polar opposites are but one and the same thing. Like you can find the truth in the lie, and you can find a lie in the truth, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm.
But yes, yeah. Like reptilian beings, bro. These were like the reptilian being. This was like, because when I first started meditating, I remember I was meditating outside and I was on the sun, and Archangel Michael came to me. Like it came to me in the form and things of that nature. And I was having a conversation with it, and to a degree, it was kind of just welcoming me to my spirituality, I guess you can kind of say.
Mm.
Um, and then the other time I was meditating, I was connecting, and I was in this room. It was kind of like a cave-like room, with like water and everything around. And I was just meditating, and this manifested, and then this being came to me. It was a reptilian being. It
Mm.
was it scared the shit out of me, bro, because it was like it was scaly, and it was scaly, and I think it was like a brown green color, and it looked fearful. I mean, it looked terrifying in its appearance, but just something told me like that I shouldn't judge a book by its cover. So I decided to talk with this being, and it was crazy because it actually ended up being one of like the so kind, so nice. I was just like,
Good ones.
whoa, that's crazy, yeah. Like it was like I didn't even know what reptilians were back in the days, but it came to me and it was so kind, so nice. And yeah, it was just talking about these things. And this happened like a year ago, so yeah, that's why I said things, because if I think hard enough, I could probably remember, but it's not coming to me like that on direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of which spirit guides I've communicated with, I've definitely connected with the Pleiadians. I've met with the leader of the Pleiadians who gave me, who upgraded my frequency and showed me a new way of healing.
Hmm.
If I can remember,
That's
pretty sure
amazing,
it's
bro.
pretty sure it was called light geometry, and it's literally drawing with light these symbols and using them for healings and stuff. That was like
Hmm.
one of the coolest experiences.
Yeah.
Dragons, definitely. I think I've told you about this. I created a healing modality with 3 dragons.
Yeah.
Like helped me to create this healing modality. And at the time, it was like a stepping stone for me to learn how to work with energy. And I named it the Dragon's Flame like healing modality, obviously after the dragons. And yeah, pretty much. So dragons, leader of the Pleiadians and Pleiadians. Every time I've connected with someone, they've shown me how to heal. Like they've given me information to help, like improve my healings. Um, Reptilians, yes. The first time I had an encounter with a reptilian, obviously it wasn't physical one-on-one, but it wasn't one of the good ones. It was one of like the lower vibrational, like control kind of ones. I remember I was
Hmm.
lying down and I was meditating, and then it just came in front of me, and it had such this really draining, like lower vibrational aura. I was like, holy shit, this is like it's powerful, but it's not like good powerful. It's like scary fucking dark
Yeah.
powerful.
Nice. Yeah.
So I had
Hmm.
to call because at the time this is when I was waking up, and that reptilian entity came there to stop me from waking up and to keep me down. And I remember like it was starting to come closer and closer to me, and I had to, and the archangels disappeared around me like you can't fucking touch him. You are not to touch him,
Hmm.
and they sent it
Yeah.
away. But after that experience, I have communicated with like the good reptilians because there is a lot of misconception when it comes to the reptilians because of
Hmm.
the influence they've had on this planet. Because I don't know if a lot of you know this, but many of the elites are higher up in the planet. They're
Hmm.
controlling the planet. Like the lives we live now, like working 9 to 5, just working our asses off. What's the saying? Um, I forgot the saying. But anyway, like it's a way of modern day slavery.
Hmm.
Like they are
Yeah.
literally using us like batteries, like via like sexual energy, the pornography industry. Like
Hmm.
when we do all of that stuff and we expend that energy, like especially men when they ejaculate, we're sending energy out of our crown. And the way the pornography industry is built, when that energy is sent out of your crown, when a man ejaculates, they collect that energy and they use it for themselves for their own darker purposes.
Hmm.
But yeah, um,
Yeah. I made this video on my channel. I think this is a recent video. I haven't even uploaded it yet. Uploaded it yet. This was the video I was telling on the reptilians, but I made a video on the reptilian, this particular reptilian being. It's said to be of royal lineage. I kind of wanted to talk about the good before I talked about the ugly.
mm,
So yeah, I kind of made a video kind of showing the good aspect of the reptilians. And then yesterday I made this video. It's funny about me. I'm talking about the negative aspect of the reptilians, like their war essence and things of this nature. And it's like that video got interrupted 3 times, bro. Like I was recording, right, and then there was an interruption, and that kind of caused me to have to not restart the recording, but, like not restart the recording, but like record it again. And it's like about it is when that happens, like the the flow, the chat you were the information is not going to be as pure as it could have been, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, so I was just ultimately talking about you know, their lower essence, like how they're very, very war driven. Like they don't understand the power of love. They are
Mm,
more focused on the love of power, if you know what I mean.
exactly.
They want to be controlling, they want to be dominating, you know. And I talked about, you know, the history between Earth and the planet, and how they actually came here before us. You know, they were here before we human beings. Like they are very ancient beings.
Mm,
Like this avatar is in a sense kind of fresh, new, I guess, in kind of state. So these reptilian beings, they're very warlike. You know, they when they developed the ability, technologically speaking, to create you know, spaceships and things of this nature, they started going out into their local universe, their local space, and you
mm,
know, they were going around and they had no mercy at all. You know, they were very they have like such a egotistical, like they feel like they're superior than everyone else, and
mm,
beings are inferior. And you know, they went around and they were enslaving or just demolishing beings that were defenseless, you know, because they also created these technologies of like massive war, these weapons of mass destruction, you know. And they would utilize these weapons on these innocent beings, and they would never really see a being as like a friend or whatever, you know. But more like that being is either our next slave or they're nothing, you know. So yes, you know, they went around enslaving other beings and things of that nature. But you know, I do gotta give this to them. Like they really know how to stick together. You know, like the reptilian beings really know how to stick together. And it's like if you notice in this day and age with the Jews and like all of the world leaders, they really know how to stick together. You know, and don't get it twisted. These reptilian beings have infested infested themselves into these they are the puppet, they are the ones controlling the puppets, you know.
exactly.
um but yeah, so when they came here into this earth realm, they ultimately wanted to build a like a army, a three-dimensional army that they can utilize to take over three-dimensional worlds, you know. So they were these masters of genetic manipulation and things of this nature. You know, like in my video, I go deep, but I'm not gonna really gonna go deep right here. But you know, ultimately they came here and they were looking, they were, you know, collecting samples and things of this nature, and they were genetically modifying certain beings to create this ultimate war machine, I guess you can say, that can do their bidding at the three-dimensional realm. And when they seen that Mother Gaia, in a sense, created her own humanoid, Mother Gaia created humans, they seen this to be a perfect opportunity, you know, for them to, that they seen us and they seen like that is our army, you know. So they collected a specific amount of humans, they genetically modified them, and you know, this is kind of where you get hybrids. You know, there are hybrids, like human hybrids, like half human, half reptilian. And most of these elite beings, fucking all of the presidents, Donald Trump, you know, Hillary Clinton, all of these celebrities and things of this nature that are like um promoting this negative agenda, you can say, they're all connected to the reptilians. You know, they have reptilian energy within them. But yeah, I guess I just kind of wanted to bring that up. They're the ones, they're the puppet, they're the ones controlling, you know, everything.
Exactly. While we're on the topic of the reptilians, like normally I don't like to talk about them too much because it attracts their energy towards us.
Yeah,
With me
yeah,
personally,
bro. Like
because sorry.
I was just gonna say, yeah, like that's what happened when I was making the video and I was
Mm,
talking about their history and I was talking about some deep shit. I knew that I attracted their energy, you know, because every time I make the videos about like the Palladians, the Syrians, I feel their beautiful essence, you know, the I mean presence rather, I should say. I feel that they're around me, you know, so it's like of course it's gonna be like that. But I also do want to mention this, you know, like we are lucky to be in this age, as we, the ones alive, are gonna see this empire, I guess you can say, that they built, that it took them years and years to build this this tool that they this you know, this government and everything, the system that they
mm,
built to enslave us humans collapse. You know, it's in this day and age that everything is starting to collapse. You already see it collapsing, you know, and things of that nature. So I guess I did kind of want to bring that up. You know, mix some light with the dark. I don't want to be all negative.
yeah, yeah, of course. But anyway, when you do talk about beings, you attract their energy towards them.
Yeah.
Me, like, I just don't like talking about them too much, mainly because it attracts the energy towards me. But they can't touch me now. Like, I'm so, like, really aware now and on a higher frequency, but they can't touch me. They can't come near me. So that's why when I
Yeah,
was
I
lower
feel
and I
you.
was
Like,
first starting to open up and remember who I was, that's why
mhm.
when I shared a story before, that reptilian came and tried to, because we're like,
Stop you. Yeah.
dude, this guy's powerful. He's gonna fucking help collapse this empire that we've built. But now they can't do anything. And on the topic of Donald Trump,
Ex-
like I've had many talks with like the archangels and source about him. Yes, he does have reptilian blood, but he's disconnected himself from the main, let's say, branch of those reptilians. So he's actually not with the ones trying to, what's the word, enslave the humans and
mhm.
really mess us up. But he's the one who's trying to dissolve most of these things. But because like the reptilians have had such a huge influence on
Politics.
humanity and the way we think for such a long time, some of the stuff Donald Trump is doing, people are like, oh no, that's wrong. But actually,
Hmm.
he's dissolved, like he's taking apart and clearing out the filth in the government and that family.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, I guess I'll just leave it at that. Like, that I agree with what you're saying.
All
'Cause
right.
my mind just went blank again.
um, but yeah, I think we should not wrap up, but we should give some people some advice on how to connect with their spirit guides.
Yeah.
So, what have you done when you connect with your spirit guides? Is there like a process you go through to help connect with them, or?
Yeah, that's what people really need to realize, that it's a process, that it's not gonna happen overnight. Like, you're not just gonna be like, la 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 la, like, I want to connect with my spirit guides and they're gonna come, and like the connection is gonna be there and it's gonna be super strong and things of that nature. It's kind of like, I guess you can kind of say there's chords, or like there's this channel. Like, you can see it as a chord, or you can see it as like this channel, or you can see it as your crown chakra or whatever, that you kind of have to build, like you have to build that connection with your spirit guides or your higher self, and yeah, like before it was like I would go in meditation, and I would make the intention to want to connect with them, and after a while they would come to me and we'd have a conversation, and then they would leave, but now it's like they're always around me, like I always feel their presence. And with me, there's always three of them, it's like the number three, like there's always three beings around me, if you know what I mean. Yes, but yes, now it's like they're always with me, like
Mm.
now I can ask them a question and they'll answer a question for me, like they're always around me. But it's ultimately about building your connection to them, because they're already connected to you. You have to meet them halfway, like they're you, they want to help you, they want to be of assistance, but you have to meet them halfway, like you have to put in the work, you have to cleanse your diet. You have to start meditating, because that's something that's also very important. Like it is said, you have to silence the ego in order for you to listen to the silent whispers of your soul. Like silence the ego to hear the whisper. And this is very true. Like you have to learn how to meditate, or like just get into the moment, into the stillness. You have
Mm.
to learn how to be nothing. I guess to a degree you can say, but it's like you have to learn how to silence your mind, because it's in this silencing that you will start to hear other voices, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I feel like, picking up a meditation routine is very positive when it comes to these things.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing with people who are starting to wake up. They feel like they are alone. They have to go find their spirit guides. But the truth is they're always around you. It's just your channels that allow you to talk to them are kind of like distorted and blocked. So it makes communication difficult for you at first. But it's like the Michael
Yeah.
Jackson song. You are not alone. Like I'm here with you. But for people who are wanting to learn how to communicate, one, go check out my video on how to communicate with spirit guides. um, I'll give you guys a technique. Normally, what I do, because a lot of people, when you say silence your mind, they say, how the hell do you silence your mind? Like for us, like right now at the stage where we're at, it's very, very easy for us because we've had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
But
Right.
technique, yeah, exactly. Practice, perfect practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys can meditate. You guys can lie down. I prefer like to sit up because if I lie down, I'll probably fall asleep.
Yeah.
Focus on your breathing in and out, like in 4 seconds, out 4 seconds. And you may notice that thoughts keep coming into your head. Like, oh, something that happened maybe 2 years ago or something that happened today. The trick is to clearing your mind is to not dwell on these thoughts.
Attached.
Just exactly, just watch them. So you see them come into your head.
Attached to thought.
Exactly. Like you see them come into your head. Like don't dwell and dive into it and like relive whatever the thought is. Just watch it. Like be the observer. Just watch it come and then go, and then come and then go. And the more you practice that and become an observer, eventually you'll enter this state where, like you said, you'll be able to hear other voices and stuff. And in that state that you go into, that is where you'll be able to speak to spirit guides and, yeah, ultimately communicate with them. Anything
Yeah, I don't
else?
know if you've experienced this, bro, but it's like sometimes when I meditate, bro, like I attain such I guess measures of bliss or like like it's like an orgasm, but it's like an energetic spiritual orgasm, if you know what I mean. But like that's one of the beautiful things you can attain from meditating and like practicing. Once you really have that ability to silence your mind and sit in the stillness, the more deeper in relaxation you get, the more intense this feeling of pleasure becomes, and that's also amazing because it's like in that stillness what you are ultimately doing is you are in a sense cultivating energy, and that kind of takes me back to the darkness, the feminine, which is like the mother, the creator, and things of this nature. And like when you are in those states of meditation and you are very deep in it, and you awake, or like you go back into the outer world, because that's what it feels like to me sometimes, when I open my eyes again, like those points, where when you are in a sense in that delta or theta, I think it is theta brainwaves. These are like perfect times for you to, in a sense, manifest, or for you to, like, in a sense, put out into the universe what it is you want. Like, for instance, me with the 369 formula I've been telling you about, that I've been using to manifest. Like, I started with the three, which is ultimately about energy, putting in the work and things of this nature. And when I was I also have a daily meditation routine, and I meditated, and like I would meditate for around an hour to an hour and 17 minutes, because 1 + 1 is 7, 1 + 1 + 7 is 9. But yeah, so I would meditate, and then I would once I would get out of there and I would be very calm and everything, then I would speak my I would speak my reality into existence, I guess you can say. Like, the thing about affirmations is when you are saying an affirmation, you don't want to be like, I will get this, I will get that. Because what you need to realize, for one, is that your emotions speak louder than your voice. Yeah, your emotions speak louder than your words. The universe is listening to the emotions you are the emotions behind, behind the words. So it's like you really have to practice gratitude. Yes, but this is not a video about manifestation.
Yeah.
We should make a video about manifestation too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely in meditation, like you said, you kind of get into this state of bliss. And that reminded me of what it's like to learn how to circulate your sexual energy through your microcosmic orbit. Because honestly, for if there are any guys out there watching, there probably are guys that are waking up, even chicks. This is very important to know for like
Yeah.
your partner or yourself. You are not supposed to secrete semen outside of your body. Like, not only is it very
Yeah.
harmful to you energetically because you're shooting this energy out of your head, but to your body, because when you are building up this semen, it's taking like nutrients from all your organs, and your organs are working so hard to produce all these nutrients and everything. And for people who are constantly masturbating and releasing, You can see it in their face. Under the eyes are dark. They look very drained as people. But when you keep the semen in and you learn to circulate your sexual energy, honestly, it's a state of bliss. Because not only, because a lot of men who try to like do semen retention and stuff, they do it and then they're like, oh, I can't do it. Like as soon as I touch my genitals, become like really, really sensitive and stuff. It's because like when a lot of people do it, they keep the sexual energy in the genitals.
Yeah.
Like that is try not to masturbate and whatever. But the key to doing it is learning how to move. Like whenever you feel the urge to like do that, exactly. Learn how to move the energy, like the sexual energy in your genitals, up through your microcosmic orbit and into your body. Because it's like the Kundalini, like the story of Moses. You see him, you see the snake turn into the staff, but then on other people, the snake attacks the people. It's like your sexual energy. When you control it, it is an amazing, amazing power to have. Like this is one of the most powerful energies that one can have. But when you don't control it, it can be extremely, extremely destructive to you. But yeah, that's probably a topic for another video.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Do you want to wrap this up?
You
Or
know, with that, I also want to mention like energy will go where your attention energy will flow where your attention goes. You know, so if you have your whole attention on your genitals and like that area, then that's where all of the energy is going. You know, what you need to do is like once you feel the energy like being built up right there, you want to start try and circulate it through your body. You know, like pull it into your higher chakras, like into just your higher body. You know, and like you will really feel what it means. You will really experience what it means to have a full body organ. You know. But yes, like I was subject like on like ten like semen retention and all of this, but I was just thinking like, damn, people as it is are already like so sensitive to the topic of sexuality, and this is like in a sense a dysfunction. Like just because they're sensitive to it doesn't really mean that I should hold back this information. But sometimes I think like, well, how would people react if I make these videos? But yes, that's like in the future as well. The future. But yeah.
definitely when it comes to like sexual energy and tantra and stuff, that'll be another video in my mystery school series because
Yeah.
that's what they used to teach in the mystery schools. Instead of like showing kids like pornography and everything waste to see, they showed you how to cultivate sexual energy. I don't know if you know this, but men are multi-orgasmic as well. They say, oh, women are only multi-orgasmic. And men can as well. Like when you learn to circulate the energy through microcosmic orbit, you have what's called full body orgasms. Instead of this like semen coming out, that's an ejaculatory orgasm. But when the energy is circulating through your body, you have full body orgasms, and your whole body's in a state of bliss instead of sleeping that.
Exactly.
But
I also, wanted to mention like there is a huge difference, a huge difference. I'll just use due to like a better word. There's a huge difference, between ejaculation or orgasm. There, like you don't really need to ejaculate to orgasm, But yes, that's a whole other topic. You're right. So we will be closing it off, brother. Yes.
All right. Well,
what a beautiful talk. Beautiful.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing talk, and I want to thank you for being a part of this like little series and being in this video. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Definitely, guys, please go check out Soli's channel. He is an amazing guy and definitely a soul brother. Take it away.
So yes, I am ultimately on all subjects. I mean, on all social platforms as Solely Spirited. That's pretty much it. And I will also be uploading this on my channel. So if you guys are interested in finding Julian and where he is, then you can go to the Winged Mystic on YouTube. The Winged, right?
Brother, the Winged.
yeah. That's what I was trying to say. The Winged, but I said Winged. The Winged Mystic on YouTube. He makes great videos. Like he produces a lot of videos about, in a sense, channeling your spirit guides and light codes and things of this nature. Like he's definitely, worth checking out. Most definitely go check him out, subscribe and everything. You won't regret it. But yes, this has been us, a beautiful build. Me, Sully, signing out, and yeah.
All right, everybody. Peace. See you in the next video.